My fiance disappeared on his birthday. No calls, no texts, no explanation. 1 minute we had plans, reservations, a future mapped out. The next, his phone went silent. Every call went straight to voicemail. Every message stayed unread. I sat there refreshing my screen, telling myself not to panic, telling myself adults don't disappear without a reason. But hours passed. Night turned into morning, and the man I was supposed to marry never came home. When he finally walked through the door the next morning, calm and unapologetic, he looked at me and said, "I'm an adult. I don't have to explain where I was." So I smiled, not because I believed him, but because I already knew the truth. And then I showed him the proof that ended our engagement in less than 5 minutes. I'm not the jealous type. I've never been the woman who checks phones in secret, tracks locations, or fires off 100 messages demanding explanations. I've always believed that love isn't about control. It's about trust, about choosing each other without surveillance, without fear, without suspicion lurking in the background. Adults deserve privacy. Everyone has their own world, their own space, their own moments that don't need to be accounted for minute by minute. I've never wanted to be someone's warden. Trust, to me, was supposed to be simple, something you give freely until there's a real reason not to. But there's a difference between privacy and disappearing. When the man you're supposed to marry vanishes on his own birthday, when he misses the dinner you planned for weeks, the reservations you double-checked, the gift you wrapped with care, when he ignores every call and every message while you're sitting alone in a restaurant, smiling at the waiter, pretending you're not being stood up on one of the most important days of his life, that's not independence. That's not personal space. That's disrespect. That's the moment trust starts to crack, not because you went looking for problems, but because someone forced you to. And that's why I need to start from the beginning. My fiance, well, ex-fiance now, his name is Ethan. We had been together for 3 years, engaged for 7 months, and for a long time, I truly believed we were unbreakable. The wedding was set for November. The venue was booked, the deposits were paid, the photographer was locked in, and the invitations had already been designed, sitting half-finished on my laptop, waiting to be printed. We'd spend evenings scrolling through seating charts, arguing playfully over playlists, laughing about which relatives would get too drunk. From the outside, we looked solid, stable, happy, safe. But the truth is, things had felt off for a while, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. About 2 months before his birthday, Ethan started getting unusually close to one of his coworkers, Madison. At first, I barely noticed. People make friends at work. I had male coworkers too. I wasn't the jealous type, and I refused to become someone who felt threatened by another woman's name. "She's just a friend," he said casually one night, scrolling through his phone. "She's funny. We work late together sometimes." I nodded. I trusted him. Then the work drinks started. Casual at first. 1 drink after a long day, then 2, then 3. Then came the team weekends. Just a group thing, he told me. Team bonding. But somehow, those weekends always included Madison, and somehow Ethan was always unreachable during them. His texts became shorter, his calls came later, his phone stayed face down on the table. Then came the spending. We had a shared savings account, strictly for wedding expenses. We were clear about that from the beginning. I contributed most of it, around $20,000 over several months. Ethan added about $5,000. I made more money, so I didn't complain. We were building a future together, or so I thought. But the balance kept dropping faster than it should have. Every time I checked the account, my stomach tightened. I did the math, twice. It didn't add up. I finally asked him one night while we were making dinner. "Hey," I said carefully, trying to keep my tone light. "The wedding account seems a little low. Did we pay something big recently?" He didn't look at me right away. "Oh, yeah," he said. "Wedding stuff." "What kind of stuff?" "Suits, shoes, some bachelor weekend planning?" Something about the way he said it felt rushed, rehearsed. A few days later, I asked again, this time more directly. "Can you show me the receipts, just so I can update the spreadsheet?" His mood shifted instantly. "Why are you interrogating me?" he snapped. "Don't you trust me?" That was the first red flag. I remember standing there, stunned, not because I didn't trust him, but because he reacted like someone who had something to hide. I backed off. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to become that woman. So I made a decision. I decided to wait until his birthday, give him space, let him enjoy his day, and then calmly, respectfully have an honest conversation about the money, about Madison, about the distance growing between us. I even practiced what I'd say in my head. That conversation never happened. The next morning, I didn't sleep, not even for a minute. I lay on the couch fully dressed, staring at the ceiling as the hours crawled by. Every sound outside made my heart jump. Every set of headlights that passed the window made me think it was him, until they faded away again. My phone stayed in my hand all night, screen lighting my face every few minutes as I checked the time, my messages, his location. Nothing. At 9:10 a.m., I finally heard it. The front door unlocked. Ethan walked in like nothing had happened, like he hadn't vanished on his birthday, like I hadn't spent the entire night wondering if he was hurt, or worse. He looked fine. Too fine. Shower fresh, clean clothes, hairstyled, not exhausted, not apologetic. He even smiled when he saw me, like this was a normal morning and not the aftermath of one of the worst nights of my life. "Hey," he said casually, dropping his keys on the counter. I stood up slowly, my body stiff from sitting all night. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice quieter than I expected. He shrugged, already walking toward the kitchen. Out. That was it. "You disappeared," I said. "You missed your birthday dinner. You didn't answer your phone. I was worried." He finally turned to look at me, annoyed, not concerned. "I'm an adult," he said flatly. "I don't need to explain my whereabouts." For a moment, the room felt completely silent. No apology, no explanation, no acknowledgement of what he'd done to me. So I nodded. "Fair enough," I said calmly. He blinked, clearly surprised. Then his shoulders relaxed, relief washed over his face. "Good," he said. "I'm going to grab some coffee." That's when I pulled out my phone. Slowly, deliberately, because I wasn't asking questions anymore. I already had answers. At 3 a.m., while he was still ignoring me, I was wide awake, curled up on the couch, my phone glowing in the dark like it was the only thing keeping me company. I told myself I was just passing time, that I wasn't looking for anything, but deep down I think I already knew the truth was out there. I started scrolling through social media absent-mindedly. Stories, posts, faces smiling into cameras. And then I saw it. Madison. I didn't even follow her, but Ethan did. Her profile popped up when I tapped through his following list, my heart pounding harder with every click. That's when her Instagram story loaded. The first slide made my stomach drop. Champagne glasses clinking together under soft golden lighting, a caption in small white text, birthday vibes, clinking. My hands went cold. The second slide appeared before I could stop myself. A luxury hotel lobby, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, the kind of place you only see in travel magazines. People posing casually like this was normal for them. And there he was, Ethan, standing right in the center of the group, relaxed, smiling, his arm wrapped comfortably around a woman I had never seen before. She leaned into him like she belonged there. My chest tightened. Then came the final clip, a short video at a bar, low lights, loud music, glasses lined up on polished wood. Ethan was laughing, leaning in close to the same woman, his hand resting easily on her lower back. He looked unburdened, carefree, like a man with nothing to hide and no one waiting for him at home. I watched it again. And again. The timestamp confirmed it, posted just hours earlier, while I was sitting alone in a restaurant, checking my phone every 30 seconds, convincing myself he'd show up any minute. I noticed the location tag next, a high-end hotel 2 hours away, an overnight stay. My breath caught in my throat when I saw one more detail. Ethan was tagged, which meant everyone could see it. My friends, his family, anyone who followed him, including me. My hands started shaking as I took screenshots. Every slide, every frame, every detail. Stories disappear after 24 hours, but I wasn't letting this vanish, not like he did. In that moment, something inside me broke, but something else hardened too. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't innocent fun. This wasn't a man who just needed space. This was the proof. And by the time Ethan walked through the door that morning, acting like nothing had happened, I was ready. At first, he tried to deny it. He laughed nervously, shaking his head like I'd just accused him of something ridiculous. "That's not what it looks like," he said, rubbing his face. "You're overthinking this." So I showed him the screenshots, one by one. The champagne, the hotel lobby, the woman at the bar, his arm around her waist. I watched his confidence crumble in real time. His shoulders slumped, his jaw tightened, the excuses died in his throat. He sat down slowly, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like it might save him. "Okay," he whispered. "I messed up." That was when the truth finally began to spill out, messy, incomplete, and far too late. He admitted the trips, the weekends that were supposed to be work retreats, the nights that ran too late to explain, the women he claimed didn't mean anything. Madison knew. She'd helped cover for him. She'd introduced him to people, places, experiences he said made him feel important. Then I asked about the money. Our wedding money. The account we were building together. The future I thought we were saving for. His silence told me everything before he even spoke. "It's gone," he said quietly. I felt something go numb inside my chest. He explained how it disappeared in pieces. Hotel rooms, bottle service, flights, expensive dinners, meant to impress strangers. How easy it was to swipe a card when he wasn't thinking about consequences. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't scream. I just stood up and pointed toward the bedroom. Pack your things. That's when he broke. He cried, real tears this time, grabbed my hands, dropped to his knees. He told me he was scared of settling, that he didn't feel special anymore, that the attention made him feel alive. He promised therapy. He promised honesty. He promised he'd never do it again. But promises don't erase patterns, and apologies don't rebuild trust. I looked down at the man I was supposed to marry and felt nothing, because trust doesn't crack slowly. It shatters, and once it's been traded for attention, luxury, and ego, it never comes back. That same day, I canceled the wedding. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, hands shaking as I made the calls one by one. The venue coordinator offered sympathy as she explained the cancellation policy. The caterer was less gentle. Some deposits were non-refundable. Others came back slowly, in pieces. I lost money, but I saved myself a lifetime of regret. I closed the joint account that afternoon, transferred what little remained, and froze every shared line of credit. I called my bank and removed his access to my cards. By evening, my phone buzzed with confirmation emails, each one another door closing. Then I changed the locks. Watching the locksmith work felt surreal. Metal clinking into place, new keys handed to me, proof that what was mine was finally mine again. Within weeks, the truth caught up to him. The people who once paid for his weekends stopped calling. The friends who loved him when he was entertaining became unreachable when the money dried up. Madison disappeared too. Apparently, loyalty has limits when there's nothing left to gain. His charm ran out. Without luxury, without attention, without someone else funding his escape, he was just another man facing the consequences he thought would never reach him. And for the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully. A year later, I'm stronger. Not because time magically fixed everything, but because I stopped betraying myself to keep someone else comfortable. I learned how to sit with silence, how to trust my instincts again, how to walk away the first time something feels wrong instead of waiting for proof that hurts. I'm single now, peaceful, grounded. There's no anxiety in my chest when my phone goes quiet, no second-guessing late nights or unexplained expenses, no convincing myself that red flags are just misunderstandings in disguise. I don't apologize for expecting honesty anymore. And here's the lesson I learned the hard way. Being an adult doesn't mean doing whatever you want and calling it freedom. It means understanding that every choice carries weight and owning the consequences when they fall. He chose attention over loyalty, comfort over commitment, ego over integrity. I chose myself. And if I ever stand at that crossroads again, between ignoring my worth or protecting it, I know exactly what I'll do. I'll choose myself. Every single time.